Hello everybody, welcome to Charlie's Body Repairs and Restoration. Wanted to bring you inside our workshop and show you what we do on a day-to-day basis, warts and all, so you get to see everything going on. So I thought I'd start with this Subaru Impreza that we've got in at the moment. It's a UK300, so yeah, that makes it that little bit more special. It's coming for rust repairs. We are waiting for some panels to the inner wheel arches, so that's a story for another day. But in the meantime, we're going to start on the rust on the rear boot aperture. You can see I've already marked out where we plan to intend to make a cut. We're going to carefully go around here, keep this factory line. There is a little dimple there that we'll re-press in, and then we're deliberating whether to put the return in, and then we'll re-spot weld it. But we're going to clean it up first and check and see. It's also got the rust around this lip, which is quite bad on this one, but it doesn't look to have got to this section yet. So again, we're going to clean that up, and possibly it's going to have a band that will basically wrap all the way around. It's almost a complete back section. So that's what we're going to start with today. We'll remove this boot seal. There's a loom that we obviously don't want to damage or get burnt, so that will be done first. That's that for now. So yeah, we'll keep you up to date on that. A few other things going on in the workshop. We've still got the Escort here. The customer's added a few extra jobs, one being a Mexico replica spoiler, so that's been put in primer now. It's just got a few areas of stopper to be flatted off, and then we're going to do a trial fit. Well, it's had a trial fit, but it's going to have another fit, and we're going to drill holes on the return edge so it mounts to the wing really nicely. On this occasion, the customer's opted to have some of these additional holes smoothed off, so it's going to have a mounting fixing at the front and down the sides. We've got a Land Cruiser in at the moment, which is having the rear bumper repaired and the rear corners of the rear quarters. It's all sitting in rush treat at the moment, and we're just starting to make a repair section for there. There's a piece missing there. We've got to do the same both sides. Also, the rear cross members looking a little bit crusty, so that's on the to-do list. Just show you on this side. This is what it looked like when it come in, but yeah, very, very rotten. All hidden by bumper and trim, so it's been, you know, a rusting away over the years, kind of hidden. This customer is really looking after this car and getting it back to tip-top condition. We've done quite a bit of work on this car already. We're kind of at the final stages of bits that he wants doing. So yeah, we're going to sort the rear end this week, and then it's going for an MOT next week. Also in the workshop at the moment, we've got a bonnet off a Mark III Escort, which Lee's cleaning the underside of this morning. The outer side's been repaired and it's in spray filler. The customer wants us to tidy up the inside. It's got a sound deadening pad which covers the majority, so he's asked us to do around the edges. So we've got the trusty blunt screwdriver on there just to clean some of this sealer off, and it's just riddled. So this will all be cleaned back and rust treated. Even around the bonnet hole there is rusted through, so that's going to need a little piece welded on. You don't stab me with a screwdriver. I've already had my hand trapped in the door of the Subaru today, so might as well. So yeah, that's where we're at with the Escort bonnet. Yeah, we'll keep you updated and we'll show you what we're up to later. So I'm just making this repair panel up for the Land Cruiser, and we've shrunk the edge to give it a really nice radius. which initially had match, but now it's all clamped up nice and straight. It does need a little bit more of a kick. So I'm just going to take this over to the bench now and just show you a little bit of how we form this. Right, so the radius was really good, but it wasn't sharp enough from the bottom. So I'm going to start at the bottom there and try and get that kick. So this is a stretcher which has got teeth in there, which bites the metal and basically reduces the surface area. Hopefully you can pick it up on camera. There's quite a bit of strength in the corner here because obviously it's got this fold. There we go. So not only is that shrinking that edge to keep that flat, but it's putting more of a radius in the panel. The other thing that I use from time to time is just a bit of old scaffolding tube. Simple but effective, but it's good to tap against there to get the radius in. I'm not going to do that just now. I've already given it hopefully the correct radius it needs, but it's actually almost flat when it comes to the side of the body. So just going to have a look at it now before we go any further. It's one of them, is sort of little and often rather than all gung-ho at one hit. Right, so that is a lot better. So the radius is really nice now. I've just got to work to get this edge a little bit flatter, and then also on this sill edge there's a slight lip on there, so I've marked it there. I'll get a straight edge on there, and then I'm just going to tap that little radius over in the vise, work this edge a little bit more, and then we'll make a cut ready to weld that in. So stay tuned. Right, just got a repair section ready for the Subaru. Well, Harry's fabricated this, and it might look fairly simple on the eye, but we've had to put the dimple in for the boot bump stop, and then Harry had picked up on the radius that was slightly different to what we normally do. Harry's just going to carefully weld that in, and then yeah, that should need minimal filler as possible, and then yeah, onto the other side. Right, we're back on the Triumph Herald. Laura and Leah prepping the high build primers. This has been done in a Noval product. This car, the brief was not to make it too straight, so on this occasion we're deciding to DA the high build primer down. If you put a block on something that's not perfectly straight, you'll run into problems because you'll be blocking against something that's not dead flat. So we are using a 320 grit grade paper on a orbital sander, and we're using soft pad for the edges. We always guide coat first. This is a perfect example. We've taken this down a certain degree to just identify any lows, any areas that want working a little bit more. That's had its first pass over with a sander, and some of these are just very minute. Some of them it's just where the texture's still in there, where I've got my primer a little bit heavy. It helps you to ensure that's out of there completely. This door had quite a lot of work, so you can just about make out the previous repairs, so that'll get flatted down a little bit more. That's what it should look in guide coat. So we start with an aerosol as a guide coat for the first sand. That's great because it stays in the highs and the lows, and then we switch to a powder guide coat to go down the grades to ensure the scratches are gone. Because this is going into direct gloss, we only need to finish this in 500 grade paper. What is worth remembering is when you use an equivalent 320 or 500 in a hand pad, the scratches are worse than if you're using it on an orbital sander. Again, there's areas on the back where it just wants a little bit more sanding to reduce some of this. You can see Lee doing the edges, carefully moving the paper, not digging the paper in, using a crisscross pattern. The other tip that I like to do is I fold it over because it gives a little bit more depth to the product. So I'll use it like that rather than singly. And when you've got something to work around like a rivet, work away from it rather than towards it. If you go towards it, you won't get in there. This door is a lot closer. So on here, there's very little issues. There's a couple of little low spots here. And then we can either decide to work that a little bit more, or if, in worst case, we'll put a little bit of stopper in. But at least we can make a decision on how far we go with it. Bonnet's another example. It's had a first pass over this section. And I don't know if you can pick up on the camera, but you can see little areas that are ringed up there which need a little bit more. Where the guide coat still remains, it still needs flattening down. But yeah, it's an absolute godsend, especially anyone who's working a car at home and they're still lacking in some experience. Is really helpful, but also it's still really important. If you have got years of experience, we always use guide coat. So yeah, I'll go show you what we've got going on next door. We'll come to Harry first. He's very happy working on the Subaru. So he's put this repair section in here now on the boot aperture seal. So he measured that and kept that depth as per factory, used the guillotine. Oh, you got your little bit ready. So look, he's put this bit needs to overlap that to the original fashion. So he's done that now. That'll be ground down, any little pinholes re-welded, and we're gonna seam seal along this edge because look, the rust does creep in between there. So if that was seam sealed from new, that probably wouldn't have ever rusted. And we'll probably do the same around the back, a little bead of sealer so any water will run out. But we'll do it in a way that you won't know it's there. We don't want to change the originality of it, but also we don't want it to rust again in the future. Harry's done a really nice job of repairing the lower aperture, put the dimple in. Very, very minimal filler will be required to finish that off. So then he'll do the same on reverse. A lot of this work is deja vu. You do everything twice. So he's doing that side and then a bit going on in the middle. I've then been working on the Land Cruiser. Rebuilt this bottom section. A piece in there. Yeah, we spot welded it along the bottom. Plugged it along the arch. But I'm going to have a chat with the customers. I think we'll probably stone guard this because this type of vehicle gets absolutely caked in mud, and this all rusted out behind the bumper and the trim because it never gets cleaned. So yeah, it's really important to protect it, and then it needs wax oiling, which we can wax oil for all of these holes. Yeah, so that's where we're at the moment. Right, we're on to the near side rear of the Land Cruiser. I've already removed the mud flap and the inner splash shield. Come and have a quick look to see the amount of mud that's compacted up on the inside of this. So yeah, all of that mud was compacted up in the back, which is why these wheel arches always rust out in the first place. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to clean this area up now and just show you. At the moment it's held together, but we're going to clean it up and then show you what it's really lurking in behind there. I've got a 60 grit roll-lock disc. Just start cleaning it up. Generally, when the rust is that compacted and you're just grinding away, normally that the rust is just rust and no metal. So we don't put hammers to cars, but when the rust is that compacted, you're better off knocking it out so you can clean it up. See, chunks like that. Don't want to disturb the shape too much. That just fell through just by touching it with the grinder, and you can see that all of the inner section, that is what I mean when the rust is just holding it together. There's no actual metal there. This piece is just, yeah, hanging in there by not a lot. It's actually worse than the other side. This piece here, you can see how compacted in rust it is. So all of that section's going to have to be made, because you can't weld to compacted rust like that. So this is just the initial cleanup. We'll now make some cuts and we'll get back to some good metal, and I will keep you up to date. Thanks for watching. Harry's still hard at it until the final whistle, till it's time to go home. He's repaired both corners, the aperture of the boot, and now he's repairing a section under, almost under the rear screen. He's spot welded it in and welded it in, and then he's got a new band to go in along there. That's coming along really, really nicely. So he's done the bit at the lower part of the boot aperture, just where his hands are blessing. So that's been repaired both sides. It's in primer. It's come out really, really nice. Well done, Harry. Then I've been having fun with the Land Cruiser, so I've rebuilt this corner. So the inner section, two inner sections, a new piece there, inner and outer section there. Then that had a very fine, also a bit there as well. We finished that in a fiberglass base filler, stop any moisture breaking through any tiny imperfections. That's just had a coat of epoxy on there to seal that off, ready for stone guard. On this side, it turned out to be a lot worse. This repair going further, but there's no inner arch, so I can actually go all the way up the back, put my hand inside the quarter panel. So now I've got to rebuild the inner arch, and as well as this section. So yeah, that's kept me busy. Very busy workshop. Right, that's about another end to the very busy week at Charlie's. Hope everyone's enjoyed the content and what we've been doing in the workshop this week. Stay tuned to see what happens next week. If you like what you see, keep watching.